Welcome at ICT University. In this video of the series of hardware and device replacement, we'll examine some of the physical privacy and security components that are available to help to improve the overall level of security for your devices, particularly for mobile devices such as laptops, tablets and mobile phones. What can make these devices more difficult to compromise when compared to using measures such as only something like a password? I will begin with biometric security devices, which require some kind of additional input to grant access based on physical characteristics of the user, for example fingerprint readers, facial recognition, iris scanners and voice recognition. Beginning with a fingerprint scanner, this is one of the most common types of biometric security. You will find this on many laptops, many tablets and smartphones. It's usually in the form of a small pad which your finger is placed, and the device will then scan and store the unique pattern of your fingerprint in a secure internal database. Since every fingerprint pattern is unique to the individual, it can then be used in place of or in combination with a password. If you're only using the fingerprint to gain access, it makes accessing the device much faster and easier, and if you're using both the password and the fingerprint, then it makes the device much more secure because both are required. But this doesn't mean that fingerprint scanners can't be circumvented. For example, an intruder could physically force you to swipe your finger to gain access, and if that's the only thing required to gain access, then they don't even need to know your password. Facial recognition is exactly as it sounds. The system can identify and use unique markers, shapes and structures of the user's face to gain access. Of course, this requires that the device has a camera, either built-in or externally installed. But the structures that are identified are then converted into mathematical data, and only your particular facial image will allow access. When configuring facial recognition, be mindful that factors such as aging, glasses, hats, or anything else you might be wearing can affect the reliability of the service, and just like fingerprint scanners, they are by no means infallible. Also here, just like with the fingerprints, an intruder could physically force you to present your facial image to the device, or depending on the quality of the device itself, it could be possible that a photograph fashioned into a mask could succeed in fooling the scanner. An iris scanner is maybe not be as common, and if it is being used to gain access to the device, it's probably in the form of an external device. Iris scanners or retinal scanners are generally not used to gain access to computing devices. Rather, you would likely see them being used to control physical access to a secure room or a facility. Iris scanners and retinal scanners both use the unique patterns and structures of the user's eye to grant or deny access. But an iris scanner uses the external pattern of your eye or that which is visible to any observer, whereas retinal scanners use the internal pattern and usually require that the user be much closer to the scanning device. Also, here again, while they can improve security, an intruder could still force you to present your eye to the scanner to gain unauthorized access. Another option is voice recognition. Like the other methods, the computing device will sample characteristics of the user's voice to grant or deny access. But an intruder who is skilled at imitation could easily gain access, and in some cases, using a recording of the original user's voice. Beyond the biometric security features, there are additional options, for example near-field communications, NFC, which is an extension radio frequency identification, RFID. But the range is short. We are talking about a range of inches, so that intruders can't pick up secure information from a distance. Common applications of NFC include quickly synchronizing data between devices, such as contacts between your laptop and your phone, and if you have a bank card or a credit card, then it is very likely that you have made use of NFC to make payments, a feature many of us simply know as tap. At any point of sale that supports tap, all you must do is hold your card in very close proximity, usually within a few inches, and the reader will pick up the information embedded within the chip on the card, to process payment without any prompts to the user. While this is very convenient to the user, this type of payment application is probably one the easiest to circumvent. An intruder needs only to steal your card to be able to make purchases because there's no PIN required when using tap. Most financial institutions implement limits on the amount that can be spent using tap, to ensure that any losses are small as possible. Plus, most payment or banking apps allow you to lock the card yourself, once you realize it has been lost or stolen. Maybe you will be wondering, why do we need NFC if we already have Bluetooth? To begin with, Bluetooth requires that the communicating devices be paired with each other, whereas NFC does not. Requiring pairing would effectively defeat the convenience of using NFC, for something like making payments. Also, Bluetooth can still carry up to around 30 feet on average. That's easily far enough for an intruder to obtain secure information, whereas NFC devices just about need to be in contact with each other to communicate. And due to that very short range, NFC is much less prone to interference from other radio sources as compared to Bluetooth. We can say each of these security measures and/or communication methods have their pros and cons. But they all led to much more convenient access methods and easier methods of communication. Just always remember that no means of security is 100% effective, so it's still important to make sure that you remain diligent with your devices and protect your data as effectively as you can.